Hello, Orland Park. I'm Dan McMillan, and we are here for 147 South here in Orland Park with a very, very special show today. We've got a show that we're going to talk about something very near and dear to just about everyone who lives in this community. Whether you have a student, whether you have a son or daughter going to one of the local schools or not, it directly affects you. And if you're living in this community, you want your schools to be as strong and as well respected and as well regarded as you can. So what we're here to do, here to talk about today, folks, is some pending legislation. I'm not even sure it's how it works. We're going to have the experts to my left explain it all. So let's introduce our panelists, the professionals that really know what they're talking about. I'm here just to facilitate, but they both serve on local school boards right now, have been they're longtime residents of Orland Park. Let's, before you turn the channel, let me make sure I introduce them and we'll get started. First of all, it's always ladies first. So first of all, we have Laura Berry. Laura, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Great to see you. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to introduce that handsome gentleman to your left, who's also a member of the school board. You guys aren't on the same school board, but we'll get into that. But you both are on school boards that benefit Orland Park. And so let's talk about that. But we have the wonderful Mr. Dean Casper.
Thank you.
Dean, great to see you today.
Always a
Thanks
pleasure.
for coming in.
My pleasure.
What we've got here tonight, first let's talk about a little of both of your backgrounds, and then we'll get right into what's happening locally with the schools. Laura, you are currently president of District 135.
School board.
School board.
Yes.
That's District 135. The school board of District 135. How long have you been president?
The president only about 5 months.
5 months. Okay, so then how long have you been on the board?
About 3 years.
Okay,
just
and
3
then
years.
let's just ask, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but what attracted you to want to be on the school board, for those out there?
I've been involved in the school district for a long time. Started as a PFE mom at Park School, student taught at Park School. Got my first teaching job at Orland Junior High, and then was a district administrator in the district. Retired recently and wanted to continue my service to the district. I think that Orland 135 is a premier district.
Yes.
in the south side, the south suburbs, and I believe that my children benefited from the wonderful education that they got here, and I wanted to contribute and continue that good reputation that we have in Orland Park.
So in simple, you're trying to give back a little bit to the community.
Absolutely.
It's so kind of an overused term sometimes, but it truly is. It's what you're doing is you're giving back as your children are in their 30s, and
Yes.
you're there and you are driving the bus that is the school board for District 135. So that's your
One way of saying it.
Yes, you're keeping it on the road. So keep 135 on the road, and let's talk a little bit with you, Dean, about where you're at. What school board are you on?
I'm on school district number 146, which is a quarter of our district is Orland Park.
Yes.
Everything east of 80th Avenue is District 146.
So it benefits, 146 is Orland Park, and what else would that be? Was that
Tinley Park,
Tinley?
half of our district is Tinley Park east of Harlem, and we also have the west end of Oak Forest.
Oh, okay, so you spread around. Whereas 135, is that all Orland, or is that?
We have a little bit of Palos, a little bit of Orland Hills.
Okay, so you're out there, but it's definitely both of you being on the school boards. They benefit. It's for the entire community. So 146, and Dean, how long have you been a member of 146?
I've been a board member for 13 years, and then another 10 years before that I was a volunteer.
So you've been
23 years at District 146. And school board all school board members are volunteers.
Yes.
As well, we're not paid.
Yes. So you don't get paid?
We don't get paid.
No.
Do it
Okay.
out of kindness of our civic duty.
Yes, it's like being a Pioneer football coach. We do it for the love of the game, the love of the kids.
Love of the
That's what we
kids.
do it. So you're 146. You've been there for quite a while, but you were president I think I saw
For
from
2007 to 2011, I was board
2011.
president.
Okay, so you're, so you were steering the bus at that point.
I was
Now
steering the bus.
But you're still on the bus.
I am.
So that's what we want to talk about today, is what is happening. We want to try to explain to folks, and I don't know what they can do. I think our main purpose is to educate our viewing audience as to what's happening here, and maybe you can give us a few ideas of what they need to do. Do they need to go? Do they need to call up their local legislature? Do they need to, how can the general public get involved when they hear about what some pretty significant drastic cuts that could come to these to the school districts?
Well, the last 6 years have been very tumultuous in the state of Illinois, to say the least.
Yes.
With the fiscal circus that's going on. And for the last 6 years now, since 2010, there have been various proposals to cut funding to local school districts, and suburban areas have been targeted, and specifically some of the biggest losers are the districts out in Orland.
Yes.
Specifically 135 and 146 will be two of the hardest hit.
Yeah, so we'll show some slides in a little while of the numbers, and they really do kind of take your breath away on a few of those, especially the 135 number, just in the sheer magnitude of the number. It's
Well, there's been a number of them, but the latest one is called Senate Bill 1.
okay. So let's talk a little bit about Senate Bill 1. It is something we've got here. Senate Bill 1 which is proposed.
It's
at this
proposed.
point.
It is as of today, it is sitting in committee in the Senate, but that can change at any time. With where it's at now, a few years ago, there was the 85% increase in the income tax. Every legislator would have told you it's dead in committee.
Yeah.
Well, within 3 hours, it was out of committee
came
and
out.
became law.
So we could get blindsided by this.
could
and
get
It
blindsided.
could become law.
And
But-
there is a push for that. And the numbers are staggering. Currently, Orland 135
Yes.
receives $5.4 million in state aid. That's for special education, that's transportation, that's regular ed. That's comes right out of the classroom. According to Senate Bill 1, it would go down to $818,000. So it's a $4.6 million cut.
So-
That's for 135.
So let me get it straight, because we did a show last year on when Senate Bill 16?
Which was
So
the predecessor.
Senate Bill 16 was introduced, and I thought what that bill seemed to be doing was they were talking about reallocating
Robin Hood.
money.
It's a Robin Hood
Yes.
bill. Take from the rich and give to the poor.
And there was the issue, seemed to be a discussion of taxes were gonna have to go up because of that. Were local
Well,
real
if
estate
you-
taxes going to go up because of
Just
that?
to use District 135 as an
Yeah.
example, when you have less money, this as a businessman,
Yeah.
there's two ways to go, either bring in more revenue or cut some of the programs. And what District 135, with Lori as president, implemented some pretty impressive programs.
Yeah, I mean, I know one that came to mind that you're starting, is it coming up this year, is the all-day kindergarten?
All-day kindergarten.
So if,
Fall.
let's just take that as that's a tangible discussion point. If Senate Bill 1 was to pass and you lost 4.6 million as is projected, as we've just shown on the slide, if you lost that, would you still be able to do the full-day kindergarten?
Well, the district has been really fiscally responsible for a long time, and not just the board that's currently elected, but previous boards have been very fiscally responsible with the money that comes into the school district. We've been able for the last 3 years to not raise the taxes for Orland 135. We are a tax cap district, so even if we wanted to raise them, it would be very, very limited,
Yeah.
the amount of funds we could get. So back to your question about full-day kindergarten, we could persevere for a few years, but that is a lot of money. That's a lot of teachers.
Yeah.
So when you don't have the money coming in, we're committed to not going into debt. We've just paid off some of our bonds and our debt. So programs might have to be cut. we would have to make some extremely difficult decisions. We know that full-day kindergarten is extremely important to children. It helps them with all of the new standards that they need to master. It helps them with their socialization. We know that many of our children in Orland now need the additional services of learning English, of having some difficulty in their development. We have a high percentage of special education children in the district that need this additional support. And that's what we're about. We're knowing that the full-day kindergarten gives very, very early support to children and that they flourish for the rest of their school careers when you support them early on. And so it's a frightening situation.
So, Orland District 135 projected going from 5.4 million getting from the state for these programs.
Correct.
To getting 800, a little over 800,000, 818,000. What would you, where is that 4.6 million going? Is that being allocated to other districts? It's not just a is it a reduction?
Yes, it will go to other districts.
It goes to other districts, so it's not as if...
Some districts are quote-unquote winners.
Yeah.
And now with the biggest difference between Senate Bill 1 and its predecessor, Senate Bill 16 from 2014, Senate Bill 1 allocates $500 million of additional money. That's where Senate Bill 16 didn't add a dime to what the state's putting into. But of that $500 million, $267 million went to Chicago Public Schools. So it was designed, Senate Bill 16, actually 135 was going to lose $5.3 million under Senate Bill 16.
So they're going to lose virtually all of it.
Right. So, and 146, we're half the size of 135.
Yes.
So, and we're losing about half the money. So the hit is proportional.
Yeah, it has a percentage.
Actually, the difference between Senate Bill 1 and Senate Bill 16, as far as 146 is concerned, is a couple hundred, not even a couple 100,000. So it's...
I have a hard time grasping the numbers in terms of Senate Bill 16 was just going to reallocate.
Just reallocate. The state wouldn't put
we were
one
still,
extra penny
we were going to be still, we were going to be big losers.
Right.
In
Somebody
Orland
else is
Park.
going to get
The money.
the money.
Yes, and then so now though, but nobody was, but there was no additional funds.
No.
So now Senate Bill 1 comes in, and we're still going to lose a tremendous amount of money.
Right. $6
in Orland
million
Park.
between the three districts that serve Orland Park.
But you're saying that they're going to spend $500 million more.
Right.
The state is. Where are they getting that money?
Well,
I thought there was.
That's a good question.
The answer is going to be probably borrowing. They'll probably borrow it.
But we're still not getting. So they're going to put in Senate Bill 1 is putting in 500 million.
Right.
But Orland Park's not getting none of that.
We're losing.
Still losing.
Is this a political hot potato? Is that are they trying
absolutely.
to?
Absolutely.
They're trying to play to certain districts and certain state senators.
Well, I mean, any time with the legislature, it's a numbers game. Of course, they're going to try. A legislator is certainly not going to vote for a piece of legislation that's going to hurt his or her district. That's just common sense.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, cutting Chicago into the bill here probably increased its chances of passing.
So now we have, we've had a few. We talked a little bit before. We were talking about back in 2011, we had House Bill 1886.
That was forced consolidation.
Yes, and that wasn't really a funding issue, though it may have been, but it was. I found that interesting in reading it. Just elaborate a little on that. So you fought the fights before.
I was the tip of the spear. We had a town hall meeting at Central Middle School in District 146 where we had 600 to 700 people from all over the state come. What 1886 would have done was merge all school districts into county school districts. So each county would be a separate school district in Illinois. And in Cook County, it exempted Chicago Public Schools. So all of suburban Cook County would have been one school district.
One district.
It would have been enormous and unmanageable. And if you think about all the school districts in suburban Cook County, all merged into one district.
Yeah, how do they even
our
come up with
neighborhood
these
schools
ideas?
would have That was the first.
It's, and, you know, and they, and the old saying, all politics is local. And it really is, because you know, like you said, you wanted to come on the board, give back to community, be part of the community. Well, why would you want to do it if you wouldn't have as much motivation if you're worrying about New Trier. Nothing against New Trier area with Winnetka, but it's all, this is where you live.
Right.
This is the fiber of the community. You want to be part of the fabric of the community. So that would have been, I don't know, it's like,
It would have been unmanageable.
yeah, I mean, it makes no sense. So you were successful
Yes.
with
Yes.
getting that to go away. To
Right.
go away. Senate Bill 16.
Well,
You were successful.
There was another initiative in between
Okay.
1886 and Senate Bill 1. There was a pension shift, which I think is that's where the rubber meets the road as far as where the state is in dire financial consequences because of their pensions. And there was a proposal, a movement that's still today, and I think this, if Senate Bill 1 ever passed, that would be the next hill to cross, is Springfield is trying to push the teachers' pensions back onto the school districts. And
I read that.
yes,
That was,
and that would be devastating to you have two of the best fiscally run districts in Illinois. We win award after award, both of our districts, every year for fiscal management. And we would be devastated by it. I can only imagine what districts that are not as well off.
yeah.
2/3 of the districts in Illinois, and there's 868 of them, are in deficit spending today. Thankfully, we're not among
Right.
those.
Right.
Not one of them.
Right.
It's with the pensions and what it's just to get a little handle on it, because I don't look at it enough and I'm not educated in it enough. But when they're trying to shift it back to the district,
That would be money right out of the classroom.
Yeah.
The monies that we're now spending on one-to-one technology, all-day kindergarten, smaller class sizes. Now we would have to pick up the state share of the TRS payments. Right now, teachers pay 4%,
No, just over 9%.
9% altogether.
And then the district pays for the teachers as well. So the district pays into TRS, each teacher pays into TRS. The state has not paid their portion into TRS.
So money has been put into TRS.
Yes. No district and no teacher has ever missed a payment in the TRS,
Correct.
ever. The state has been, for decades now, throwing IOUs into, and now,
And taking money out of it.
Yeah, so there's
Not
money, there's
just-
actually money
Not just
out.
not paying it, taking it
Yeah,
out.
so they borrowed from it.
Correct.
So they could throw back on a debt to the school district for something that the
They
school
should have been
district has already paid.
Correct.
So this is dangerous. This is very dangerous. It's a slippery slope, so to
Yes.
speak, with what we're doing.
just real numbers, 135's portion would be, if this happened today, $12 million. Another $12 million.
For the pension.
On top,
Correct.
for the pension.
So $12 million
So think of
To bring it
$17
current.
million between the
Loss.
two.
in 1 year.
And
Every year.
Right
That's
off the-
that's
No, but
worst
that
case.
first
Right.
year,
Right.
boom.
They're
it hits.
talking about phasing all these in over 4 years,
Yeah,
but still, at
But
the
it's
end, 4
still-
years, 4 years goes like that.
yeah.
It-
I go back to, and you hate to say it, you know, where we don't want to act like we're crying poor.
We're not.
But we have, I mean, you know, the basis of the foundation of the settlement that we've done, you know, we've all settled into Orland Park, and we all feel like we've built up a solid community. And it's all, and what some of these bills are, is they're going at it. It's, I mean, in its simplest form, it's Robin Hood. You know, it's as if they're stealing from the rich, or we don't feel like we're rich, but we've been responsible.
That's right.
And so that's the penalty for being responsible.
The other thing for me, and this is just me, there's no caveats put on the money that's going to the winning districts. And this shouldn't be district against a district.
No.
But there's no plan for the money. They're not taking the money and then doing that. And it's almost like we're gonna make everybody, instead of everybody raising, we're gonna lower the ones that are up here.
Yeah.
So it's the inverse of a rising tide lifts all boats. We're gonna get all the boats in the same level by lowering the water line, and it just seems backwards.
Yeah.
Punishing success, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, it's socialism, whatever, you know, it just doesn't seem to be democracy at its finest, and capitalism, whatever you want to bring out
Well,
through there, so.
and, you know, Orland Park was named just a few years ago one of the best, by CNN, one of the best communities to raise a family.
Yeah.
And the bedrock of that is the schools. And
Yeah.
that's why I've been involved for over 25
And,
years.
yeah, no, it's gotten multiple. I think Chicago Magazine named it one of the best places to live at
Mm-hmm.
one point. So that's just, there's so many pluses here in Orland Park.
And it's all foundation. The schools are the foundation of the community.
Yeah, no question about it, no question about it. When people are, especially early, the starter homes, they're, you know, one of the first things anyone asks is, how are the schools? How are the schools? How are the schools? They research the schools, and that's why it's so important. So I said to the folks out there watching, just because you don't have a student going to school, your son, your daughter's sons are now in college or out of school, you still, a strong community is a school with strong, is a community with strong schools.
Keeps your property values up.
Yes, yes, and that's what
And
we're all
everybody
looking
has grandchildren. If their
Yeah.
kids are, they want their grandchildren to have
Absolutely.
everything that their children have.
for. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And so, Senate Bill 1, how did, just, did you get an idea?
Senate Bill 16
I mean, excuse me, Senate Bill 16,
And-
you were, I don't know, when you say, I don't want to use the word victorious, but you were successful.
You know, a lot of credit needs to go to District 230 and
Absolutely.
Superintendent Jim Gay and
Yeah.
Board President Rick Noble, the whole board, and also the 135 board took the lead on that.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
Town
the-
halls, very well
The town
attended.
hall that we
And-
went out to
and there's
at
one-
Sandburg, I thought
There
was
was one
very
at
well
Sandburg, and there's
presented.
one at Conrady Junior High in Hickory Hills, where the Edge folks, that parent group hosted.
That's a good, you bring up something, let's talk just a little bit, so if people want more information.
A great source.
About that, yes.
A great source of information on all of these things is Edge Illinois, EDGE. Everybody deserves a great education.
Mm-hmm.
It's a parent group started by Debbie Chafee, who's a mom in District 117. Her husband Ian is board member there. And at their website, edgeillinois.com, there's links to the legislators, there's links to all kinds of information. They have a Facebook page, Edge Illinois. You like it, it shows up on your feed when there's updates, and their Twitter handle is at Edge Illinois.
So this is a good time to talk about what people can do in terms of getting the word out, getting the vote out. Go to edgeillinois.com. They'll have a link to local state senators, local
Right.
committeemen, whoever it is.
Right.
And folks, take an active role. Take an active role. Go to Edge Illinois and take some time to write a letter to your senator, your state representative, and get the point across.
It made a difference. There
Yeah.
were 350 people at Conrady. The theater at Sandburg was filled
Oh,
that
yes.
night.
Yes, it was.
And legislators were there, and they noticed.
Oh yeah, they noticed. They noticed.
And now,
It's very large.
quite a few people have said that Senate Bill 16 was, and that was just so drastic, they can't believe that they would do anything. Senate Bill 16 actually passed the Illinois Senate on Memorial Day weekend in 2014. And then it was the uproar after that,
Right.
that it was never called in the House. The next January, Senator Menard, who sponsored Senate Bill 16, reintroduced it with a few tweaks that we already talked about.
Yes.
In January of 2015. And it is still sitting in committee down in Springfield.
16?
No, Senate Bill 1.
Senate Bill 1,
16
16's dead.
16's dead.
Dead. Senate Bill 1, though, which is
It's sitting in
a
committee.
metamorphosis of 16, is sitting there in committee.
As far as 135 and 146 are concerned, there's no difference between
No,
the two.
no. You're gonna
It
lose
would be
quite a bit either
devastating
way.
to our
Yes.
community. It would certainly change, programs would have to change.
Yeah. Yeah, a combination of having to change, and you probably, well, you would say we'd have to raise the real estate, the taxes, but you're capped. So
capped.
you really can't raise them, you can never raise them enough.
Enough.
And I don't think anybody's, you're not looking for people.
I wouldn't want to
you wouldn't-
speculate on
you wouldn't be able to
what
get-
we would do. I mean, but, there's fees involved that you can go
Yeah.
to, maybe tuition for some programs.
But you hate to, the extracurriculars are so important, because even when, you take it when kids are filling out applications for college, sometimes the separation, if they're trying to
Sure.
get into school like Illinois, or they're trying
Well-rounded
to,
kid.
yeah, and
They do go back to 6th grade on many of these colleges when
yeah.
they look at these.
So and I always found the extracurriculars are important, not just to look good on your resume, but they really do help develop it. And as our grandmothers would say, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. So, the extracurriculars are really what help the community so much, because, and I think that even the Bridge Teen Center was built on that, to keep them, give the kids something to do. Because when they've got something to do, they usually, especially something positive to do, then they don't have time to do the negative. So that's the key. But we got a lot of work to do. So
and
we got to pound the pavement here.
and to not add insult to injury,
Yes.
just January 6th, 2016, the Illinois Board of Education passed a revised fiscal year 16 funding program within the current framework, much the same, and under what this is passed, and it's going to happen between now and July 1st. Orland District 135 will lose $73 per student in aid this year, totaling $336,050. 146 will lose $61 per student for a total of $127,864. And District 230 will lose $66 per student for over $500,000 loss. And that is in their payments that will come before July 1st.
So regardless of what happens with what we're talking about now with Senate Bill 1, we're going to lose $1 million locally.
Locally, we're going to lose $1 million between now and July 1st.
And that's
Now-
money that's been budgeted already.
Yeah.
That's this year.
So
This
you've
year
got to
budget.
find other places,
And-
or you go into reserves, which
Right.
that makes it difficult
Right.
down the road.
Exactly.
And to compound it, these numbers are annual. So when we do our budget projections, you go 5-6 years, that's almost $5 million a year for 135. That's $30 million over 6 years. When you're trying to plan long-term capital projects, things like that, you're looking, and that's right out of our local economy. That's right out of our property taxes, right out of the classroom. An extra $30 million over 6 years with some of the programs that 135 is taking over would be a big help. And Laura can go over a lot of what's gone on in the last few years here.
With 135?
With 135.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit
146.
about what is happening with, things that have happened at 135, positives, negatives.
Right. Only positives. We are so very proud of our administrators and our teachers and our school board and our children with our one-to-one technology rollout that we completed this year. We know that 21st century skills include technology, and that the shift in education
critical.
to using technology to increase learning is really, really important. At our last school board meeting, we were at Liberty School. We like to visit our schools and have our meetings at some of the schools. We had 5th graders with a bot, the little robot, and they were learning code. And that's so important,
Yeah,
a 5th grader, and they were learning code.
I keep reading about that, how important it is to do code. So what I was going to do, if you could put a good word in for me, I was going to take that 5th grade class and learn code.
Absolutely.
So if that's okay, I'll start I'll start that in March.
Right. Another thing that we're really, really proud of is our preschool program for students at risk. That was funded with federal grants up until a few years ago, and then those grants are no longer available to any school districts. So we said that this is very important, and so we continue with our preschool program, and we continue to fund it without the support that we have. There's been so many state and federal dollars that we've lost that are not included in this Senate Bill 1 that have impacted us. Things like the Illinois textbook loan program that would help us buy textbooks or software, that's gone. Technology grants are gone. Our grants for professional development for our teachers have been greatly diminished. So we have been losing money on many fronts, but in our Orland School Districts, in both of them, we continue to want to have the high programs that we have. We attract the best teachers that are around because they want to work with our students. We attract great families who want to come and want their children to experience this. And our families are paying much more than the state average percentage-wise to live here.
Yes.
So our taxes, that tax burden is on our families because they feel that the schools are important.
So it's important that they've made the sacrifice already.
Yes, they have.
To live here, a little higher tax base, but, you know, with because of that, go strong schools, which go strong property values, so it should be a win-win.
Right.
But now, you've got, you know, some people looking from the outside, and this bill gets introduced that we're worried about in committee. So it's in committee right now. So all those great things you just talked about at 135.
Right.
Some of those, a number of those could be at risk.
Correct.
If we lose this, if we lose 4.6 million on top of this 336,000. I mean, we're really looking
We're right at $5 million.
Yeah, we're right at $5 million for.
And we're over $2 million in 146.
Yes, yes, so we have to figure out a way, we need, folks, you really need to jump on this, because everybody, just about everybody that's watching this right now lives in Orland Park, and you want this, we want our community to keep growing, and we consider ourselves a prosperous community, but it just doesn't happen by mistake. It happens because of folks like Laura Berry and Dean Casper giving of their time and giving of themselves to really, when these type of initiatives come up, they really are not in, they're not really in the best interest of anybody, but they're presented to certain constituents that they're going to benefit them, so they push them. So what we need people to do is go to edgeillinois.com and really get out the vote. So there's some, we talked about that. Are there some other things that the community, members of the community can do to, are we having any, I don't know if we have any plan. Do we have any town halls planned on this? Anything that's coming up?
It's something that we're diligent about maintaining, and they've certainly been successful in the past. Senate Bill 1 may have the same fate as Senate Bill 16, but they will come back with something else.
Yeah.
The problem down in Springfield is not a partisan problem, it's not an ideology problem, it's a math problem.
Yes.
They're so far in debt, they can't keep borrowing to make the payments, so they're going to have to do something. And the conditions that have, for the last 6 years, have caused this consolidation, the pension shift, these two aid bills that they're trying to take from us, has only gotten worse. So to think that this won't happen again, I think is...
Yeah, so we can never...
So we have to remain diligent.
Yes, we can never take our eye off the ball.
Right.
But you do all the good things that you do on an ongoing basis. I mean, when school's out on summer break, you're not on summer break. I mean, you guys are still having the meetings. In fact, that may be even busier time in the summer, planning for the upcoming school year. So now that the school year is going, we've got as we talked about, kindergarten for next year. Anything else on the horizon that the school? We talked about a lot of great things. As you look at out into the future, do you see any changes coming to the school? I know that's putting you on the spot, but
Right.
I'm just...
Well, I mean, just making sure our programs are strong and keeping up with the needs of the students. The student population changes, it shifts. We need to keep up with what children need to be successful as they move forward. So there's always a refresh of curriculum and making sure that students are learning with the best materials that we can provide for them. There's certainly always the need to continue to make sure our buildings are safe and pleasant for our children. We have a fabulous maintenance staff in our district that does a lot of the work themselves, saves us millions of dollars, so that when our children come to school, it's a beautiful, pleasant, safe place for them to be. They don't have to worry about, potholes or anything that could detract. We do really well on our life safety reports because we keep up with our buildings. So those are all the things that go on behind the scenes with the school district that you do need to maintain.
Yes. So I guess if we summarize it all in a nutshell, we need the community to take a role.
Correct.
We do.
And we need them to be active.
What this does is it really hamstrings us going forward about staying on top of, at the cutting edge of technology. Our kids are not only competing with other kids in other districts, they're competing all over the world.
Yeah.
And to get in, and some of the best students in college that came from 146 and 135, because they had that, the kids of today may not have that if these things
Correct.
go through. When I first became a board member, I went to a national school board conference, and they demonstrated a thing called the smart board, which was the cutting edge at the time. Now, a smart board is almost like a rotary phone. That's how much things have changed in the last 13 years. And 10 years from now, some of the things that we're looking at, the iPhone that just came out would be a relic.
Yeah,
And if we're still having the tools of 2015 in 2030, because this passed in 2016 or 17, our kids, our grandkids will not have the same opportunities that the kids of today and 10 years ago had.
Well, I appreciate your passion. I appreciate the community appreciates everything that both of you do on an ongoing basis. And you're giving up of your time, you're giving up of yourself, you're putting yourself on the firing line, right out there, to be criticized for what you're doing, but you feel very strongly, as you should, about it. So I'm going to talk a little bit more and just to explain or just reinforce. Please, if you're watching today, go online to EDGE. What does EDGE stand for, Dean?
Everybody deserves a great education.
Everybody deserves a great education. So edgeillinois.com. Now, EDGE also has a Facebook page.
They do. Edge Illinois.
EDGE Illinois.
Search Edge Illinois on Facebook. You'll find it, like it, and you'll get updates.
We'll get out there. And then, folks, if you want to try to friend Dean on Facebook, he has some fine pictures of himself up there. You'll love it. But anyway, also Twitter. I'm on Twitter, but I don't.
Twitter handle is
the Twitter handle is @Edge Illinois. So, and the Illinois State Board of Education, you can visit that at www.isbe.net.
Yes.
isbe.net. So let's make sure we get out there and talk to your senator, talk to your House representative about Senate Bill 1. How bad of an idea it is, and that you don't expect, they will not have your vote if they don't get behind the putting that back, and don't let it out of committee. Just leave it and let it die. So hopefully, as you said though, we'll talk about Senate Bill 1 going down, but then there'll be a Senate Bill 22 coming up.
That's why we must remain vigilant.
Yes. So we'll keep on this. Hopefully the Prairie will do some articles, we could ever get them, about this, and you'll do a town hall meeting, and we'll come out and cover that. But anything we can do to help is, because you guys, like I said, you guys are giving up so much to do this, and we're not talking a little bit of money here. We're talking, we're talking millions and millions, and we're talking children's lives.
And Laura and I aren't the only ones. We both get to work with some pretty special people and some great people on the 230 board.
Yes.
It is. I am very hopeful about the future, because we've all gotten together, all these districts, and they're they're doing it for the right reasons.
Top to bottom, you've got a wonderful board, and you've got a wonderful board, and I know the 230 board are just some wonderful people over there, and so keep up the great work, and we're going to keep on it one more time. edgeillinois.com. Go to that, and it's all kinds of stuff at your fingertips, folks, where you can voice your displeasure with Senate Bill 1. So, in closing, we're going to ask Laura to talk a little bit about where she came from in Chicago and what parish she was at.
Came from Garfield Ridge, St. Jane de Chantal Parish.
St. Jane. Oh,
St. Jane
sorry about
de
that.
Chantal.
Jane de Chantal, so the
Chantal,
parish.
yeah.
And so that's where you grew up.
That's right.
That was your parish. And because I really do think I'm fond of the fact that people, and I grew up in Monroe, Michigan, so I didn't, I went to St. Joseph back in Michigan. But you grew up, I just love the way everyone in Chicago, they describe, they don't live, back then, they don't live in Lincoln Park, they don't live in, you don't live in a neighborhood, you live in a parish. So that was your parish, you grew up and went to which high school?
Kennedy High School in the city.
Kennedy High School. So that was it, and then from there you went to you went to Governor State, University of Illinois, and Aurora University,
Correct.
all fine institutions, and you've been teaching, and you've contributed to the greater good in education, which is very good. So I only want to talk about this just to give a background on the fact that the connection that these two have with education and the greatness they've done in the community. So Dean, you grew up in Chicago also. Now where was your parish?
St. Bede's.
St. Bede's?
Bede.
Bede?
Yes.
St. Bede.
85th and Kilbourne.
There was it. It's still there?
It's still there. Oh,
Still there,
absolutely.
okay. Yeah, did you go back
They're
periodically
great.
to see to the church? Very
Absolutely.
good. Very good.
Quite a few St. Bede former residents are now out in Orland Park.
Out here in Orland Park. And
Run into them quite often.
we were talking a little bit about, it is common, we've got a trustee in town, Mike Carroll, which town, you had mentioned his parish before.
St. Dennis. He's
St.
from
Dennis.
He was on the other side of Pulaski.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to go over there.
Yeah, so he was on the other side of the tracks, so.
Right.
No, it's St. Dennis. Easy to say, easy to remember, I should have remembered, but, so Dean, where did you then end up in high school?
I went to Brother Rice. the
Brother
great
Rice. What's the name, what's Brother Rice called? They're
The Crusaders.
The Crusaders. So the Crusaders, I tell you, we had a show this year. It was Coach Brian Badke.
That's right.
He has really got them back on the map.
They're a state title contender.
Yeah.
Catholic League Blue co-champion.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, have you been out to see him?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're a big pro.
My son
big,
just graduated from there a couple years
Oh, he
ago.
did?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
so
dance
it's
club.
the legacy.
Absolutely.
You kept the legacy going.
Absolutely.
So you had a tremendous career as a Brother Rice Crusader.
Yes.
And then you crusaded right where'd you go to end up going to
I went
college?
to
then?
Richard J. Daley College.
Richard J.
My
Daley
first
down in the
two.
city?
Down in the city, in my neighborhood. Received my associate's degree, and then I was out in DeKalb at Northern Illinois, where I got a BS in public administration.
Northern Illinois, the Huskies?
The Huskies.
In public administration. So
Public
you've got that. You got a Bachelor of Science.
Yes.
And they then have emerged as a top flight school. They always were. I do know that the one thing about Northern Illinois, even though I didn't get to go there, I took the CPA study course there and passed the CPA because of that. They do a tremendous job in accounting. That's what it's a nationally renowned when it comes
They
to
are
accounting.
top 10 in account, always have been.
Yeah, so they do a great job there. You went there, learned everything you could. The Huskies. Last thing I'll ask you about the Huskies. Did you
Yes.
go to the Orange Bowl?
I did.
You
I was
did?
in the upper deck of the
Fantastic.
of the far end zone there.
It was pretty exciting. I mean, I really thought they were.
We hung with them
they
for
hung
about
with them.
3 quarters.
Yeah, yeah,
And the national champions the next year, Florida
Yeah.
State.
Yeah.
That's where they played that.
yeah, yeah. But that was great. That was great. That was.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was a high point for the state of Illinois and the state and the city of DeKalb and Northern Illinois, and you were there.
Yes.
You were there. Now, as a Northern Illinois graduate, how could you not go? You
Right.
had to go.
Right.
So, our local school, we
They
love
weren't
Brother.
good when I was there, so.
No. They were in and out of different leagues back then. It
Yeah.
was, but they're back to the Mid-America. It's great to see. And what's good to see is we just love all the, everything about the local, and this just shows us what we're talking about. It just reinforces it, how from the elementary to the junior high to the high school and then on into college, it's a cohesiveness, and you lay the foundation here, and that's why we're so important to do what we're going to do. And let's talk about one last thing. Our favorite high school, of course, is Sandburg, District 230. But we also love Brother Rice,
And we love
don't-
Andrew.
Yeah, and we love Andrew, we love
146
Stag,
feeds into
everything in the
Andrew now.
230 and 146, and my kids went over to Jerline, and so we love, that's all part of 135. And, when I, with the basketball, and we had, with the Magic, we played in all the different schools, and, from OJ to Jerline to Century. So it's a great
facilities are
system.
first
All the
class.
facilities are first class,
All of them.
and we love it, and they're always very accessible to the community, and that's what we want to keep it that way. But your favorite high school, of course, how about those Celtics?
Okay.
The Providence Celtics. We do want to get that in. We love the Providence Celtics.
Sure.
And so, as we
All right, wrap it
close,
up.
I want with our final question, which we always like to end every show with, just to get it. This gives us a flavor of who our real guests are. So, Laura, we'll start off with you.
Okay.
Beatles or Stones?
Beatles.
Beatles. Very good. Dean, Beatles or Stones?
Oh, the Stones.
Stones, there we go, folks. I don't know, we got a little friction here, but Beatles or Stones, I love them both, that's all I can say, but we love that, and we love the fact that we have the salt of the earth looking out for our kids here in Orland Park. So keep up the great work. We're here for you, whatever you need, I'm a phone call away. Whatever we need, we'll pound the pavement, we'll be online, we'll do whatever we can to make sure that our schools are financially safe, because this is really, they're safe physically. They do a great job with security over there. I know I could, when I had to go up to the school to pick something up or drop something off, they wouldn't even let me in, but, which I understood. But they do a great job at the schools, you guys do a great job, but let's do everything we can to get Senate Bill number 1 off the books and never to be seen again. So we want to thank Laura Berry. Laura, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. You're a font of information. I think that's how it's said. I don't think it's fountain. I think it's font. But bevy of information. You guys did a great job, and we got the wonderful, as I said it when we came in, Dean Casper. Thank you very much, Dean, for being here. We want to thank both of you. We're here, as we always are, as part of the community, and you cannot get any more into the fiber of the community, folks, than you can when it comes to the local schools. So get out and vote one more time, edgeillinois.com. I'm Dan McMillan for 147 South, Orland Park TV. We want to thank Mayor Dan McLaughlin and the trustees for allowing us to be on these fine Orland Park airwaves. Thank you.